What's up, YouTube? It's Kenny again. Man, I've been having a hard time making this video. I stopped special just to make it. This older truck that I'm in is just the noisiest, rattliest truck. It's got some kind of rattle up here that I cannot for the life of me find. And I've got a crappier phone mount in here that bounces real bad. And then I tried to do it when I was stopped yesterday, but this load, the refrigeration unit set at -10, so it was just running and running because it was like 85 degrees. Anyway, I'll stop crying about it. But so I stopped just to make this video. Wanted to give you guys a little update, tell you what I've been thinking, what I'm up to. So the savings account is at $9,000 as of this morning. So I have 3 accounts. I have the checking account, and then I have 2 savings accounts. They're both high yield savings accounts. And what I did, I believe it was last week, was in the regular savings account, I went ahead and I just put enough money in there for all of my bills for this month, for the month of April. And the war chest, it's named war chest. That's where I do the bulk of the saving, and it's up to $9,000 plus a little interest is in there. They're both high yield savings accounts, and so here we go. All right, so we're at $9,000. I fully expect to put $1,000 in next week and get us to 10, and $1,000 in the week after that and get us to 11,000. Basically by the end of April. I'm not sure exactly what day that payday is. So guys, I've scheduled for home time. I'm going to take home time at the end of May. I'm going to be staying at least 2 or 3 days with some friends of mine. They're having a party, and I'm going to go out there and get some stuff done at the dentist. And so that's going to save me some money on hotels. I'm still, vaping, so, cigarettes, I'm hardly even buying any cigarettes comparatively. So there's a possibility, guys, that by the time I go in for home time, we could be at 13,000. We're going to at least be at 12,000, and maybe 13,000 by the time I go in for home time. What that means is, the next time that I come in, I'll be up over that 15,000 mark, and that's the number that I've been talking about, that when I hit 15,000, that's when I'm really going to start getting serious about buying a van. So it's coming up quick, all right? At that number, 15, maybe a little bit more, I should be able to buy something and have a bunch of mechanical work done to it to make sure that it's mechanically sound. So I talked in the last video about how I really want a Dodge ProMaster, and I really do want that Dodge Ram ProMaster, but it's just not going to happen. And so I'm going to stick to my guns. We're going to get something that I can't stand up in. It's going to be a Chevy Express or a GMC Savannah, and it's probably going to be, I want the extended version if I can swing it. I want one that's a little longer. It's like 2 or 3 feet longer, and I'm going to keep myself away from like the G20s and stuff like that, most likely. I just, I've decided that I don't really want to go through like pulling all the interior out of the back and all that to do the insulation and stuff. So I'm going to go with a cargo van, possibly a passenger van. Some people don't like the passenger vans, but I do like the windows. And you just kind of have to make some decisions about which sections of the windows you'll cover with insulation and which sections you want to keep. So it's possible I may go that route. It depends on what I find when I'm ready to buy, which is, again, coming up really quick. There are going to be some logistical issues. I'm thinking right now about how I'm going to access that amount of cash. I bank with Discover, so it's an online account. They don't have physical branches, so I'm figuring out what the logistics are going to be of me pulling the cash out to make the purchase. and or maybe transferring it to another bank so that I can go in and get a cashier's check or something like that. So I'm working out those logistics. And then there are also other logistical issues because I don't really have anybody there local to me who can do any legwork for me as far as like taking it to a mechanic, going to pick it up from a mechanic, stuff like that. So there's going to be, and then not to mention going and looking at vans and then going to pick up the van. There's going to be probably some costs with Ubers and stuff like that. So there's a lot of logistical issues to work out with the process of actually getting the van and having it go into the mechanic and all that. So it may take some amount of time for me to like come in a little bit more often than normal to do some stuff, and there's a lot of stuff to be figured out about how that's going to work. I've been putting a lot of thought into the interior build out recently. I've had stuff swimming around in my head for a long time about how I might do it, and different ideas. One thing with the solar, I've got the solar more or less figured out how I want to do it, but I kind of think that I have, instead of doing the 455 watt panels, I think I might go with these 330 watt panels. Now, it's going to mean that I'm going to sacrifice a little bit on the amount of wattage I'm going to be able to bring in to the van, but with me deciding on going with a Chevy, I want to try to avoid those solar panels sticking off the sides so much, because doing the math and thinking about it, I think they're going to stick off like a foot on each side almost, and that's quite a bit. And I just don't know that there'll be no stealthiness whatsoever if I do it that way. And so these 330 watt panels, like, they may still stick off a little bit, but it'll just be a tiny bit, you know what I mean? Instead of having these big sections sticking off that I got to figure out how to either hide or just deal with them sticking off. So I think I'm going to do that. They're about the same width, but the length is different. And the thing about the width is, even if I was to put those 455 watt solar panels long ways on there and double them up, they're actually, like, the length would actually be more than if I turned them long ways. So yeah, anyway, so some of the interior ideas that I've been thinking about are so you kind of have two different schools of people you see doing it. Of course, the sun's going to try to ruin this video anyway. You got kind of two different schools of people that you see building these vans. You have some people who will go to Home Depot and buy wood and just build everything from scratch, or most things. And then you see other people, and they'll do what you call like a no-build build, and they will go like to IKEA and buy units and install them and modify them to install them and stuff like that. And I've tossed around the idea of doing it both ways. I'm fully capable of building everything myself, and I'm fully capable of doing all the modifications. The thing about using IKEA stuff and cheap furniture like that is that stuff is not meant to be in a mobile situation. So you have to modify it and put brackets in to make it stronger and stuff like that, or else it will fall apart, So I've been looking at other options to maybe do some type of a no-build type build so that I don't have to do too much, like actual building cabinets with plywood and stuff like that. And kind of when I look at these other people's vans, it seems like they're trying to make them pretty. You know what I mean? They're going to IKEA to get this stuff to try to make it all look pretty and stylish. And, a lot of the people that do the builds in their vans, they're going for trying to make it pretty. And there are people out there that aren't. But so I personally, like, don't get me wrong, I don't want to just look like I'm a homeless person with a bunch of stuff stuffed in a van. But I also don't really care if it's like fashionable and stylish and whatever, So I've been thinking about alternate ways to kind of buy things that are ready-made to put in there without sacrificing like sturdiness and stuff. One of the things that I'm thinking about is filing cabinets. So filing cabinets have nice deep drawers, and they're sturdy and strong and made out of metal.
New message, I-64 to I-69, you'll go through Dyersburg.
You can get them in 2 drawer, 3 drawer, 4 drawer, so you can kind of customize the height of them and how you lay it out. I'm thinking about using some of those on one side. Another thing about those is that because they're metal, and you really could do this with wood stuff too, but I apologize for this fucking computer. But because they're metal, like, you could just get a nice countertop, cut the size you want it, put it on across 2 of them, and screw it to the top. There are kind of, and they're sturdy. You don't have to do a bunch of reinforcing and stuff. Also, the drawers lock, so you don't have to modify it to make the drawers lock so they don't open up while you're going down the road and stuff. Filing cabinets are seeming like a pretty good option. I'm also considering, so I've been thinking a lot about the bed situation. This is something that's been rolling around for a long time. I would like to have some kind of a couch rather than just a bed. I'd like to have some kind of a couch. And people make these like beds that convert into seating and all this stuff, and I may end up going that route, but I've been thinking a lot about it, and I may just try to find a couch, maybe a futon or something. Now, the problem is with a futon, the back kind of lays down from the back, so you can't put it all the way up against something. But at the same time, I can sleep pretty comfortably on a couch, and I did for a long time. So, there's a possibility I may just go with a couch of some kind that allows me storage underneath and stuff, and roll with it that way. There's a lot of decisions still to be made, but another idea is a cargo net. Like, if I'm able to get the extended version van, then at the back I could take a cargo net and put it on the ceiling to give myself some more storage up high, but back far enough so it's out of the way. I want to have a garage area in the back, because where my diesel heater and any tools and stuff will go. And if I could get a cargo net up over the top, there's, I could put all kinds of stuff in that, a nice strong cargo net. So that's another idea that I'm flirting around. And also, that cargo net idea would give me a little bit of, depending on what I put up there, a little bit of extra like insulation between the top and the living environment. So a lot of ideas swimming around in my head. I'm getting excited. I am getting close. I'm doing more research, looking at vans a lot, and I'm seeing a lot of stuff that's in the range, in the Chevy and GMC stuff. I'm seeing a lot of vans that are, within that like $3,000 or $4,000 range, stuff with high miles and stuff that I could potentially have an engine and transmission put in, or, whatever I decide once I get it in hand and look at it. So I'm getting excited, and it's getting close. If you're just finding the channel, hit that subscribe button, guys, because we're getting close. We're getting close to getting ready to get a van and do the build. Now, the build's going to take place over a pretty long period of time. While I'm, saving and stuff like that. But it's coming. Another thing I've been thinking is, you see a lot of these van lifers, they'll get these refrigerators that are built like ice chests, and there's a lot of companies that make them. And if you get a pretty good size one, you're looking to get a quality one between $500 and $1,000 for one of those, for a good size one. And they use less electricity, but I'm gonna have a really robust solar system on this thing, so I'm not too concerned about the electricity itself. And I may end up going with a regular, like a dorm fridge in there, just because of space and because I can pick up one of those dorm fridges for like a couple of $100. So even if it lasts a year and then I got to replace it, I could do that 5 times before I spend $1,000. So that's a potential option. There's lots of stuff I've been thinking about, so I'm getting excited about it. I appreciate you guys following along. If you're just finding the channel, hit that subscribe button, and thanks for watching.